What's up, everybody? Welcome back to New Haunt Order. It's been a while, but we're back, or I'm back. They've recorded one without me because I had prior engagements that are called an infant.
I know the feeling.
But we're joined back tonight. We got Jim Jam as always. We got Steve Moore and Jason Cottrell. And tonight we're joined by Doug Couch of Six Fears Hales Bar. Damn.
Finally got you.
Yeah.
So, Doug, I know you said you haven't listened to the show before, so let me give you kind of a quick rundown of what we do.
Okay.
We got it's a real, compared to other haunt podcasts, we're a very short show. We've got 6 questions we ask every guest. So we like to get a perspective on the same questions. And we'll just go ahead and jump right in unless you got any questions.
No, I'm good to go.
Awesome.
So,
well, the first question is probably the one that everyone in the haunt industry gets asked the most. And that's, how did you get started as a haunter?
as a little kid. So, pulling the hair off my dog and gluing it to my face. So, first time I ever got goosed was in college, but I was in 6th grade. I was able to get into a college party with gluing dog hair to my face as a werewolf for Halloween. After that, there's no turning back.
Oh, so, wow.
So I'm just one of those freaky kids like you guys. I mean, my mom would come out when I was 4 years old and like at midnight find me outside with a stake and a cross trying to find a vampire. So just like all you freaks, nothing different. But I got into the haunting basically later in life when my son was really scared at Halloween. I'm like, that ain't happening. And my other businesses were doing very, very good. So I could go and, I spent in 6 figures at Transworld as a home haunter and doing just a mega haunt, my home haunt in Vegas, in Las Vegas.
Damn.
And then we decided to start taking that downtown, and we had some leases on some downtown hotels, and we did the Fremont Street experience for that. And it just got to be a nightmare. And at the same time, I opened Hazard Room. We were doing props just because I was getting sick to my stomach from getting ripped off from vendors at the Transworld. I'm like, man, I'm just going to make them myself and sell them to my friends. And that took off. And then I decided to do one other thing, was open up a chain of Halloween costume stores. And so I did that and still got that, but I haven't opened up here in Tennessee since I left Las Vegas. Now, I did stop by Denver for a minute, checked out the market. I really didn't like it there. So next stop was here, and I'm right outside of Nashville in Charlotte, Tennessee. My haunt right now is 3 hours from my house.
Wow.
And it was just a friend that had a building, and I'm like, man, this is insane. It's a dam. So it's a historic dam. It's considered one of the most haunted spots in America. And it's pretty freaky working in there. So I took that up. And I'm building a second haunt out here, which is a big one on the west side of Nashville, which is an indoor-outdoor haunt, if we can get it done. Still knocking down trees right now. And we actually shut Hazard Room for 2 years to get these done. And but our sculptors and stuff are still working. So we got some really cool stuff. But did that answer that question, or am I just rambling?
No, you got it there. The pulling the hair off the dog and gluing it to your face is probably the most unique introduction I've heard.
Yeah. So
So yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear about the new haunt whenever you want to talk about that. But
that's 6 Fear Charlotte. That's going to be, we're putting up we check with the fire marshals out here, and it's I got 50 acres up here on my property, so my house looks like a castle already. We're going to try to keep people away from my house though. But we're doing under 1,000 square foot buildings to keep out of fire code with the sprinklers, and we already checked with the fire marshal and they're good with it. And I went, Vegas to get anything done is like, you have to have political figure in your pocket, so the mayor wanted me there because I was bringing people downtown at the time, and going through the nightmares of all that, and then coming out here and saying, you know what, I'm doing agritourism. And I go, what permits do I need to pull? And they're like, none. I go, how can I market it? You can market it any way you want. I go, what can I do? They're like, do whatever you want. We know where your property is. Can I sell beer? Yeah, sell beer is $50. $50 permit. I'm like, oh my God. This is a lie. So this one out in Charlotte will be our big one. We're still going to keep building up the dam. That one's a slow process. We had basically no roof the first year. We got electricity at the dam the day before we opened. So it's been a true nightmare in itself. The roof just blew off last month. So we're getting that back on. It's just hard because it's 3 hours from your house, and it's hard to put your passion into it when it's so far out, So
yeah. Well, I have
really
I did get to go through the first year. So you pulling off what you did in that little time, and as far as you are from there, hey man, you killed it.
It was brutal, man. It was the hottest summer up there too, and it was just you're looking at and we're getting the state called on us every week because certain people didn't want us up there. So we're getting marshals out, safety inspectors, asbestos people, and the asbestos people are coming out. You got asbestos? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, what are you going to do about it? I go, is code the same? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, I ain't doing nothing about it. It's staying right there. But they were great guys, honestly. So they're really good to work with. And so we're getting inspected every other week as we were building it. And that was kind of it's always put you on the edge of your seat. But they were good people. And but trying to get that built up in the heat, and you're down in a dirty dam, and sweat and bugs, and you're just dripping. Your nuts are chapped from the sweat and heat. You got you can barely walk. It was it's my passion, just like you guys. So it was like I got to be insane to do this because I retired when I back in 2008. I never had to work again, and then this Halloween shit. God dang it, It's a sickness. It's a sickness, man.
It's a disease.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna try. The haunt community out in Nashville is cool, and I've been around meeting a lot of the other owners, and they're incredible, good people. Vegas was a little more competitive, cutthroat. Obviously, because you're also dealing with other major events during October. But out here, man, the haunt community has been really awesome, really good people. So far. So I'm sure there's some dickheads out there somewhere. I haven't met them yet, but
there are.
Oh, there you are. There's Carol.
Carol, you've been a sweetheart every time I've been around you.
I don't. Yeah, well, Jimmy, we
I haven't worked for you though, so I don't know.
Working for him's a different story.
There you go. Doug, I mean, that's you're damn near in Chattanooga, man. I've been to that Hales bar, and it's spooky just walking up to that damn thing.
Yeah.
And I thought about one time having this TV show where it's like haunted house haunters like fighting these paranormal people over this haunted building because they each want to use it for different things. And I'm assuming that's what your life's like right now down there.
Oh yeah, it is. And we actually do paranormal tour. It's our upsell ticket. So we actually sell a shit out of that. We get that at $85 a ticket. So we let them go through the haunt, and then they get a tour with a group of 8 through there, and it's about 20 minutes. It's worked out really well because the building is freaky. It's rare where we don't have a night that someone doesn't capture something. So, and working in there late, you start knowing all these entities, by name. You're like, oh, hey, Susan. Yeah. It's like,
there's a Susan?
Well, there's ones that we keep away from the women. So some of our actors and stuff, we can't put in certain rooms. So the girls, and then we don't even tell them. we just put them in the room, and then the girls would come out. Oh my God, someone's holding me down and squeezing me, and I'm like, yeah, we knew. We just wanted to see.
Yeah.
Wow. Got the
my
me too.
my wife has had big floodlights thrown across the room at her while she's painting the wall at night, all the way across the room. So nobody in there except her. And I was in the other hall, and they just went flying across from one side of the room, up, not down. And that wasn't fun. But we've had all kinds of, I pulled some stuff out of there. There's so many stories I could tell you guys. We haven't got that time, but man, we've had all kinds of people come in and bless it. Indians come in and do their thing and all kinds of stuff. It doesn't end. So if you know the history of the dam, you should. If you don't know the history of that dam, you should Google it. I mean, a lot of people have died there. A lot. We can even show you some of the spots where they died, raped, murdered. You know, bodies floating up. You name it. People catching on fire. We have a room called the battery room. I don't put anything in it. I just let people go in there. And I would say about 1 out of 4 women come out throwing up or coughing or wheezing or hyperventilating. It's actually where a guy grabbed the batteries, which were the big dam batteries, and basically melted. So, you know, when they pulled him out, he deskinned and defleshed. But we get a lot of activity in there. And we go back to even the Cherokee guardians that they believe are in the dam too, because the land is cursed. So by dragging canoe, and we play off that. We play off dragging canoe too. So
that's definitely one of my favorite Ghost Adventures episodes is when they were there doing that one.
You haven't seen nothing, man. You come down one night and I'll let you spend a night in there, or as long as you can last. So it's pretty brutal.
10 minutes.
So
don't tempt me with a good time. I'm down. Last time we were there, remember Matt? We were down there and our cell phones quit working.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then Crazy Ralph went by on a bicycle. You remember that, Matt?
I do. It was funny because as we're driving up there, like there was a boat actively sinking in the lake.
Wow.
And like the whole place reminds you of Friday the 13th Camp Crystal Lake type of a feel. And I told Carol, I said, if you see a crazy old guy on a bicycle, you floor it and get us the hell out of here. And no sooner than I said it, this guy comes riding down the hill on a bicycle. Time to go.
You know, and that's one thing that happens all the time to us. It's the first time I went in there, I went with 5 of my crew in there to see if we were going to do it. Every single person, flashlight and phone died except mine. And I go in, and I knew the history of the dam a little bit, and I made a claim because I have Cherokee ancestors, and I actually know who they are. So I say their names and put a claim to the dam, and nothing happens to me most of the time. So I got so many stories, but I won't go there. But, you said you went to the dam the first year for that thing, and I actually ended up flipping the flow of it. So I rebuilt it the second year. Just because I didn't like how it ended. You go on this great big dam. That's where we had our queue line into the powerhouse of the dam. And then you end up just kind of outside in the mud. And I wasn't liking that ending. So we reversed that. And we started at the top and ended in the big dam. We you're going to get bad reviews no matter what. But I think we only had one person really complain about that. They liked starting in the dam. Everybody else loved ending in the dam. So that was a learning experience for us too. We got to get better with our queue line up there. We're too slow still, where it's taking us forever to get people in. We doubled our crowd last year. So from the first year, we went into, we backed off of following marketing and went to general marketing. We just hit radio and billboards last year with very little social media. And we actually, because of COVID, I think we doubled our stuff. We had no restrictions. So we just had temperature check, which was required. And half my people got COVID. I think I had it, and no one complained. We didn't do masks. We didn't do anything. We just, everybody was, go ahead.
Doug, you're immune then. You're good.
Well, I got O negative blood. So that's plague resistant. But I got sick pretty bad for 3 days, but in September before we opened. So I'm thinking I had that because, man, I was stuck to the bed. But I never went to the doctor for it. But We had no issues up there. None. We had none. I mean, we get the regular person that hurts himself on purpose, you know, and you just tell them whatever, take a hike. But we were very blessed because the fire department up there, the volunteer fire department, is amazing. So they bring their truck every night, and then they bring 2 to 5 guys to work, and they volunteer. And so they run our security. We had the fire department there full time. I mean, that's been the biggest blessing, you know. So that's really worked out. Hopefully I can get that down here in Charlotte too. And then we give them a good donation at the end of the season. You know, they know that's coming, but we buy them some equipment or something at the end of the season. So it's been a win-win for everybody, and they're great guys. So I know some of the horror stories my friends who own haunts in Ohio and stuff have to with the firemen, you know, having to pay them, you know, $400 or $500 a night to sit there. And I'm like, oh,
shit.
So
to keep them going, well, you didn't pay me tonight, so I don't think your sprinkler system's up to code.
Yeah. Well, that was one thing that we dealt with, is that they came out and we were getting called on us by another group, obviously, that was a paranormal group. They were trying to get us shut down. And they came out, the building code guys, multiple times, and the state safety people, and they're like, you're the only second haunt we've ever been to in Tennessee. And we got called on by everybody. But, you know, I had to keep redirecting them. Like I said, they're great people. And I'm like, look, we're not under regular fire code. We're a registered historic building. These are our codes. And, you know, I had to explain things to them a little bit, and they went back and researched and came back and they're like, you're right. You know, you're right. I'm like, I don't need sprinklers. You know, I don't need this. I don't need this. This is what I need. You know, so that was good. Learning experience. Before I took it, I called around all the other haunts that I knew of that were in historic buildings and tried to get feedback. Obviously, it was a little different with everybody. Both fire code, you have a total different book on historic buildings, and people don't know that if it's registered historic. So, very different atmosphere than what I'm used to.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting to know. Awesome. Keep that in my back pocket for down the road.
What's that? You broke up.
I said, keep that information in my back pocket for down the road.
Yeah. You know, you can put on, people think if a building has asbestos in it, you can't put on a vent in it, and that's not true. You know, the code for asbestos, federal and statewide here at least, is very specific, and it says you just can't disturb it, you know?
Right.
So, and you just leave it there, even though, you know, I had different code guys say different things. One comes in and says, don't touch it. Another guy says, scoop it up and throw it out. And I go, I'm not allowed to. And he goes, I'm not saying that, don't scoop it up, throw it out. But, you know, they're good people. So they want you to succeed. And eventually we had to threaten a little bit to get them off our back, not them, but basically saying, we know who's doing this, calling in of us every week, trying to shut us down before we get open. And we're going to file a lawsuit, and we're going to need their name. So, and the state said, look, we know what they're doing. So anytime they come at you again, we're just going to null it. You know, we're going to let it, we know what's happening. So I just didn't get that. For me, I want everybody to succeed. And that was nothing that I wasn't used to, because that happened in Vegas to me. So that was pretty much normal, you know? So it's just something that there's all, and it wasn't the haunt community either. It was the paranormal community. So, but, and they do tours year round on that. And in fact, when I went out there to the dam, you saw that we did the haunt in the little part of the dam, the little building. When I went out there, they said, you can do it in any part of the building you want. You can use a whole dam, just don't destroy the walls, you know. And I looked at it and there's some really cool stuff. And I almost put it in the powerhouse, which is huge. We could have made the haunt twice as big, but there's gigantic windows. And I'm like, man, people are gonna fly out there. So it became a safety issue for me. Yeah. So we actually went in and then at the other end, I'm like, man, I can get an upsell here. You know, this part of the building is so spooky, it can stand by itself. We can get a good upsell doing a paranormal ticket, which worked out really good for us. And so that's what we decided. I did it in the small building that's really destroy building. and we left the main part of the building alone. Except what happens if you haven't been there is we start in the small building and we go into underground tunnels. So there's tunnels that used to be cable runs, and we take people through there, and then they end up in the main building. So
I gotta get out there, check it out this year. I wasn't able to make it this past year because it was right when my wife was due to have our baby around end of October, 1st November, and I wasn't allowed to go very far from the house. It was like, I don't want you to be,
when I tell other haunters, I tell haunters, I'm sorry, but when I tell haunters, like my friends come down and stuff, I go, you're probably not gonna like it because we left most of it alone, so you're coming in and there's some jump scares and stuff like that. But if you're looking for a darkness or something, you're not getting it here. You're not going to have high detail here. You're not going to have that stuff. We're just using that atmosphere that's with the building, and trying to change it up every year. We obviously have original animatronics in a lot of spots because I build them, I have thousands outside, but so like my friends came out from a haunt in Chicago and they're like, oh, it was scary. It was good. But I'm like, I know. I know. It's not like if you're a haunter, you're going to come in and you're going to be like, where's all the detail and all this other crap? And it's not going to be there. We play off of the legend. We tell people before they go into the battery room in the queue line, we have warning signs about going into the battery room. We have some of our negative reviews are some of our best reviews. They're like, we got scratched all over, and we didn't get scratched there, but when we came back home and went to bed, we woke up with scratches, and they lied to us saying that you couldn't get attachments. You can't. And someone grabbed my balls or did this, and there was no one in the room. So yeah, I mean, some of that stuff, and we know where they're going to usually, an entity, if you believe in that stuff, which I do, is going to scratch them or get them. And so, what I do to them is I just say, you know what? Just go back outside, take your shoes off, go into your house, and don't put your shoes back on for a whole day. And that's how you break attachments. And every single time, man, never have a call from them again. They're like, oh, it worked. It worked. And I'm like, well, it's an old ancient tradition. Take your shoes off before you get in a house to break any attachments. And we tell people that, and it works for whatever reason. So
is that the what's that damn the pill they give people that think they got something wrong with them?
A placebo.
Yeah, is that what a placebo for the haunt or the?
It could be, but I'm sure for some people it is. But other people, we have weird stuff, man. They'll lift up their shirt and they'll have just like it's weird, and you can tell it's not self-inflicted because the way it goes, or it's in the middle of their back. Or we've actually had one girl last year was freaky. I think someone got on video, lift up her shirt a little bit, and you could see the scratches coming from the inside out. So it was like in slow, and we're all like, holy crap, and the scratches are growing on her as we're sitting there talking. And she's like, this is so cool. And I'm like, really? It's like, oh my God, look at this. And I'm like, this is cool. And I'm like, really? So like I say, so that building, the Charlotte location is going to be totally different. We've been buying up haunts all over the country, actually. So my whole yard looks like a crap pile of whatever. There's stuff from one side to the next, and it's like, so we just got to get the carport buildings up, get everything off the out of the roads, out of my house. My wife's going to kill me. But
so as Carol Moore likes to say, your yard is haunt porn central.
You would bone, man. You would freak. If you get people would freak, like a normal person comes to my house and they're like, oh, it looks like a lot of shit. But a haunter, they're like, holy shit, and I'm like, oh. They're like, plus I got probably 2,000 molds laying around, and it's like, I got the original molds from Friday the 13th, from Freddy Krueger. I have the original molds from almost every Hollywood movie, in the 80s. There was. But obviously I can't resell them because they're, trademark products. Yeah. So, but man, I gotta stop, I gotta stop. So
I want to know about your 59 Cadillac hearse that you have.
I have a bunch of hearses, but that one is my baby, man. So I'm just waiting to find someone to do good body work and paint. I'm gonna take it to flat black. Took me a while to find it, and I had a 69. I still have a 69. I had a 68, which I sold. But the 69, we actually had it all limited out, and it's got 4 TVs in it and stuff, and it's ready for wrap. It's just been sitting and probably needs a new tune up and stuff. But in Vegas, we would send that to the airport for the high rollers and bring them to the hotel in the limoed out hearse. So on the 69, but the 59, that took me forever. And honestly, I bought it out of Arizona. It never made eBay or nothing. The guy had it on Craigslist for about 1 minute, and I've been looking for one for years. It was in pretty good shape when I bought it, a lot better shape than it is now. But he had opened not Spirits, but the other Halloween store.
Halloween Express.
Yeah, he opened that and he tried to open a haunt in the back, and he blew it. And I don't know what it was marketing or what, but he lost his ass, and so he had to sell everything off.
Is that the guy that was that bought all the stuff? And that's 13th floor Phoenix now, isn't it? And that's the same guy. He had Halloween Express, and then he bought a bunch of stuff from Rocky Point.
I don't know, because he was broke when I bought it from him.
Yeah.
And
this guy supposedly this guy lost his ass, and then 13th floor came in and bought it all from him because he had a Halloween Express next door.
Maybe. And he was crying when I drove away, man, because it was his daily driver. I mean, he was big dude too. You know, he's like a 6'5" guy. And I look, and he's just in tears, and I go, man, I feel so bad. Not really, but I'll get that baby cleaned up. So,
hey, we got set. Was it? Looks like we got a little less than 7 minutes left. Because
that's one question you asked me. I thought you had 6.
Oh no! No, we got 7 minutes left in this because it's the regular Zoom, so you only get 40 minutes free.
Oh boy!
What we do is I'll just invite everybody. Yeah, I'll invite everybody back.
Next week I'll pay my $500 I owe them, and you guys can use mine. So
$500.
That's how much it costs for the year for the unlimited Zoom.
Oh.
So I'll pay that next week. But I let it expire because I haven't used one. I actually do a lot of public speaking and stuff for other companies, and I actually get paid for it. But you can use mine.
No, we can do. I just call you right back, and it'll have another 40 minutes.
Yeah, but next week you can just use my code. I don't need to be on. Just use my code.
Okay,
and you can get in and just use my system. So I don't have a problem with it. So people always.
I think you answered some questions for me about Las Vegas. I've always tried to talk my brother into investing in a haunted house, and he lives in Vegas. And
it's a very hard market, man. That's one of the hardest markets I've ever touched.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do anything entertainment wise out there. He owns an architectural firm out there, and he's all about building casinos and add-ons to the airport and stuff like that. So he's like, I don't see any benefits in investing in entertainment.
Well, you just got to remember Las Vegas. There's something going on, not every week, every night. So
that's probably why
you're competing with major entertainment, like not little stuff, major. And so October is very hard. There's only a couple of trailer haunts left. I know a couple other people are trying to open out there. I had a 9-year lease with downtown, and I walked away from it. I'm like, this is insane. I had 1 million people at my door. To get them in, that's a different story. You know, they're there to drink and gamble. And anything off of downtown, now you're dealing with very rough fire marshals, because got to remember, the city doesn't want those businesses drawing from the Strip and Fremont, you know, so they're super hard on you. When I was in high school, there was, I think, 68 haunted houses in Vegas. Now there's 2? And they're trailer haunts. So you have Freakling Brothers and then Rich Sterlick's haunts, and maybe a couple more. I don't know, but yeah, the fire marshals are just brutal there, and the draw is hard. The draw is very hard with your competition. So you had Fright Dome for a while, but that wasn't a typical haunted house. That was more of a amusement.
I remember that one. I remember going out and visiting him and went to see that one. He won't go to haunted houses. He don't like them. He's old, so.
Yeah, I shared a warehouse with Fright Dome for years when I was just a home hunter, and it's just because I had so much shit. So I was helping them out in a different business avenue, but and that's a little bit when I started doing Hazard Room out of there, and then we got our own warehouses for that, and went really strong with Hazard Room the first few years, and then I was like, it's getting to be like a business, and it's not fun anymore. So what we were doing was we were setting up that Trans World. We would only open up one day at Trans World. People are like, "You're not open." I'm like, "You don't get it. We really don't want that many orders. We just want enough to cover ourselves and have fun and all that." And not last year because it was closed, but the last 2 years before that, we started booming so fast, man. And it's like we're just getting so many orders all around the world. We're shipping all over the world. And then I said, you know what, man? I went out. We delivered a prop to one of my friends' haunts, and we guest act. And I'm like, I miss this stuff, man. We went in and guest act, and we had a blast. I go, the whole idea in the beginning that we got into this once we left the home haunt thing was to open a haunt, have a prop building company in back of it, and have our Halloween stores on the front. So like empty into a major retail store. So that was a whole concept and then we got sidetracked by the downtown events. We were actually shopping in Arizona for our haunt. We were going to open up with Kyle from Midnight Studios. That was our first venture, and that fell apart at the last second. And he opened up Monsterland for a couple of years, but then we ended up in Vegas. So once I revisited the haunt, man, I was like, man, we got to close Hazard Room because Hazard Room's labor. It's fun making a number one prop. The first prop's a blast. 2, 3, 10. That's a nightmare. Your crew's just like, we're trying to keep as low because we're trying to keep as little employees as possible just because it's not year-round work, so it's like it could be once we go full blast. And that was the other thing is if I could get all 3 of those Hazard Room open, the 6 fear haunts, and all things Halloween stores back open, and have those employees have a solid year-round job because you have non-stop work in that case instead of just a seasonal event. And that's my long-term goal, is so I can get people paid. But
that sounds awesome.
All right, so next question we like to ask is one of my favorites because I love hearing what people like, and it's what's your favorite scene that you've ever built in a haunt?
Holy crap, that's a hard one. Favorite scene. Well, I know other people have done it, but my first monster stripper on a stripper pole, I know other people have done it since then, back in 2009 in Vegas, where I had a actual exotic dancer who was also a contortionist, and we had she was dancing on the lap of Distortion's giant. So it was pretty good. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm mad I didn't see that.
We built her a nice stage and everything else, and it was pretty cool. It's really crazy when you talk about that because some of my favorite scenes, like I put all this money into certain scenes and stuff, and then one year I did this last minute 3D haunts. It's called Toxic Martini in 3D, and it just used string and cheesy shit like that. And afterwards, people coming out of the 3 haunts and they're just, hyperventilating and everything else. And I, what was your favorite haunt? Oh, Toxic Martini. I'm like, the one I spent $20 on, I'm like, yeah, it was great, man. And I'm like, geez Louise, so,
man.
We've done so many scenes, so it's just like, I don't know. But I think that the stripper one, because at the time I've never heard of it, so I had a white room when I did my home haunt, it was like a 6-hour line to get into my home haunt. And it was about 14 to 16 rooms we built outside. It would probably be about 6,000 to 8,000 square feet of use. And I built a white room with the fog and stuff like that. And it was probably 8 by 12. And we had white walls with white faces on all of them. And people would be stuck in there for 15 to 20 minutes. And we're like, they could not find their way. It was just a maze. We'd have to go in and pull them out. And it was insane. It would hold up the line, but we'd have people bypass it. It was just a home haunt. I wasn't charging anything, but It was just the simplest thing, and people would be banging on the walls. Get me the hell out of here! Get me out of here! You know, it's like just full of a box full of fog. You know, and white walls in a maze. So, but yeah, I don't know. You know, everybody's I think a little smarter on me building their scenes. So I just go out there and shit works. You know, it's like I don't draw a layout or nothing. So I go out and I tell people where the walls go, and you know, everybody's like, "My God, how did you figure all this out?" And I go, "You know what? I'm just a visual thinker, and you know, I can see this stuff first, and then I got some good ideas for some good scenes for what we're building. We're actually one of our haunts out here is called Hazard Room. So after the prop company, but I got some good stuff coming that I don't think anybody's done. But you want me to sell you the blueprints? You want me to sell you my ideas? But no.
I know we did the first year. We had some vampire strippers. Cabaret. That was a fun scene.
Yeah, people like that a lot, and you know, mix we had like one stripper in a cage. She was dancing. Everyone's like, "Oh, hey, girl!" And then another girl in another cage would come out, and that was the scare. But yeah, I mean, I just stuff that you don't see very often is always stuff that I enjoy doing. And I mean, we had like you're talking about, just something you threw together. We took a bunch of foliage and grapevines and fogged this area out. We called it was it the Forsaken, Matt? Is that what I don't know, something.
Yep, Forsaken.
And people come out like, man, that fog area was great. It's like, damn, that's the least sexiest scene, but the most popular.
Right,
so.
right.
In the black hallway.
You know, in
Vegas
too, guys. In Vegas, I had because we had to get up into the upper parts of the hotels and stuff. Where my haunt in Vegas was about 30,000 square feet, and we had 3 weeks to build it. So I used scaffolding to build it out mostly, and we would use parts of that building too because we used binions for a while. Before someone else take it over, and it got a bad name, but it was a good name when I was running it. But we would have to get it built in 3 weeks. We used, you know, the black tarp, and you know, it's funny because you know, we're all detail. Even when I look back on Larry's old videos, you know, and he's all black tarps, and he's like, "You don't need detail." And now you look at his new videos, oh my God, you need detail, you know. But in those haunts, just putting up that black tarp, and then they would actually go into high detail scene because we'd stick them into old casino part or old restaurants. We actually used the building itself too, or the old kitchens, because they were demolishing it all, and they gave us rights to everything. And the black tarp still work, man, because you know, if you got the right scares and the right settings before that, and you send them into the black tarps, man, you know, we had vomiting and hyperventilating, and just like you would have at every other big haunt, you know. And so, and that reminds me, I'm going to go back because I just remembered a scene. So I'm going to go back to one scene that we did that was actually probably my scene. It was in one of the old kitchens in the hotel. Now, you guys probably know Binions is also considered haunted too. It's where the mob used to take people down into the basement and take care of them. But I had a good sized Marine working for me, and I put him in like a butcher outfit, and I would get girl actors, and he would grab them by their hair and take them off the counter. They would sit on the counter, and he would throw them on the ground. We'd have them throw them onto a big cooking sheet, and he'd grab their hair and they wrap their hands around his wrist, and he would drag them through this kitchen, and screaming, kicking their legs. And boy, man, was it hard to get people to go through there. They would run out the other way. And this big old guy, these girls, I keep switching actresses because they would get so bruised. I mean, they'd be black and blue. And I go, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I love it." And I'm like, "My God, man, you're like a map. You know, you're so beat up." And they're like, "No, he's nice and all this." And so I think they just like the guy. But they throw him down on that cookie sheet. You couldn't see the cookie sheet, you know, it would slide against that hard floor, and they would just drag it. It looked so real that it just, you know, it was insane. But yeah, the only problem was people would shoot out the way they just came in. Like, hell no, I'm not going in there. That was probably my favorite scene. But you know, I can't really take credit for the scenery in there. You know, it was an old kitchen, you know, big, metal everywhere. All this stuff was still in there, you know. So, and we were able to destroy whatever we wanted. So it was pretty cool. But
that'd be nice in a haunt setting, you know, not having to worry about stuff getting damaged.
Yeah, they obviously came after me for money afterwards, and I'm like, nah, you know, I knew their game. So,
Yeah.
and I had to deal with old Vegas in that hotel, so it was a little different. So it got physical sometimes, like with dealing with the guy I was leasing the building with. That, you know, it was chest bumping and stuff. But it's old Vegas, you know, it was cool. So, yeah, that was cool. But out here, you know, my big thing is I don't want to tear down. I don't think I ever want to do another temp. So that was one reason I let those go. Is just tear down was just too much of a nightmare, you know. So.
Yes, it's never as much fun taking it down as it is putting it up.
Yeah, and you know, and still you're in here was in Vegas too. What happened was you would have these great big freight elevators, and the buildings had been rebuilt so often, remodeled so often. When you got up to wherever you're going, you'd open the door and there'd be a regular door right in front of you, 3 feet in front of you. So we had to cut our props apart and re-weld them when we got them in the building. And it was, I mean, you got 3 weeks to build this stuff. So just getting it upstairs, you know, you had a huge crew, and you're shutting down parts of, you know, major entertainment industry areas just to get stuff in. You know, we ran every night. I think we took one night off a week, and we'd run till about 2 a.m. That also caused another situation, because doing the downtown area like that was you had to hire the people in those areas. So you want to get kids, you would get a lot of, you know, different people, put it that way, that were, you know, they belong to the streets. So that was a different experience where we ran 110 actors, but that's something I won't do again, you know. So out here, just setting up and letting it go, and building more of a haunt family has been fun at the dam, you know. That's been really fun.
Yeah.
So we've actually been able to work with, like, you know, we were doing a little partnership with Rigor Mortis, you know, Jordan Whitten's little haunt over there. It's a nice little haunt, you know. So we were doing banner exchanges with him. He's a really good guy. So it's like, you know, we met and I'm like, okay, let's do banner exchange, coupon exchanges, and that went well with us. So we're about an hour and a half from each other. So out here, man, I just like this haunt community so much. It's just like, so far, like, I know I haven't hung out with any of you guys yet. So.
It's definitely, it's one of the most probably inviting haunt communities I've ever been a part of in the Nashville area. And I think it's just a Nashville as a whole, and that's including, you know, Metro and the extended areas. It's a performance mentality community. So they understand a lot of, you know, what it takes to do this sort of stuff. And there's a lot of artistic people in the area, so they get it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to get open over here, just because you know, my hits on my website have been insane, and I haven't been open. I put up the website about 4 years ago, and I didn't know when I was going to open. I'm trying to get it open this year. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but I've been getting plastered, man. I think I had 168,000 hits. You know, it's like, damn. And I'm not open. I got one bad review already, so it's like I got my first bad review, and I'm not open. So it's like, all right, cool.
Wow.
Like, but yeah, just getting that website open early was a big deal. That was a big deal. So hopefully, and we're doing a Las Vegas type theme out here too. And we've had the sign already built. It's a welcome to Las Vegas sign, and it's distressed, and it we've had it, they spray painted Charlotte, or we rebuilt the Las Vegas sign a little smaller than it is. We had it built exactly, and then we went in and had it totally distressed, and it says welcome to Charlotte. So if you go to our site, sixspheres.com, you'll see the sign, and it's a drawing. We made that. And I figured at that, because for photo ops, I go, what's the most photographed sign in the world? I mean, the Las Vegas sign is one. I go, let's make it. And then we can do, like, we're still going to have go-go dancers in the queue line and stuff like that. We got some really good facades. We've been driving around the country buying some facades just because we don't have time to build them. So hopefully get all the shit together. So, and we have paintball too. I had another park that we had another area called, I don't even know what we called it last year. Yeah, there's my Charlotte sign part of it. So we built that. But, and then I had a contract for I have a contract for another 165 acres of flatland over here in Dixon to build a third hump, but I think I'm going to let them out of there and just focus on these two. And then I think I'm going to build some escape rooms. So I just need to, I'm killing myself, man.
You only live once, man. You only live once.
Yeah.
Sound like me. I got 3 different podcasts.
Wow. I offered part of that haunt to Kyle over at Midnight Studios because we did some partnership earlier over here, and he's considered it. But I think I'm just gonna drop that because it's just too much. And that was, I gave the land property, and what I do is I just get percentages. So I'm not paying a lease to anybody. I get percentages. So in Vegas, I gave 0 to 16% depending on the hotel. I had one hotel in Vegas offer me. One of the contracts I actually ended up turning down was the State Line Hotel. They offered me $10,000 for moving in, just to move in, 100% of the gate. And then they offered me a percent of all of their roller coaster rides and stuff during the season. So the marketer guy that was in charge of it, he dicked around. He couldn't get a contract to us soon enough, and I bailed. And then he ended up getting fired. But all I needed was a contract for that one. But I got, I pay anything from 0 to 50% on my lease, depending on the building. I hate going up to 50%. I've only done it once. And, but 16% to 40% is more like it. But I don't want to be stuck with, a lease bill. That's the worst. That's the scariest thing for me in a haunt. You're getting, and you see a lot of these haunts getting built up or bought up, by 13th floor and all that, it's the lease that's getting them. The haunt's doing fine. They just can't afford that note for the year. And they have one bad season and they're stuck. So if you go in and you find someone, if you're doing land or whatever, I mean, I know a lot of guys do it and you offer percentages. It works for people because it's sitting. If it's sitting, it ain't making them any money. And there's no risk for you. Like the dam, I have 0 risk. I have 0 risk at the dam. I have 0 risk for payroll, everything else, because my payroll is stipends. So if we don't make money, they don't make money. The money's based on ticket sales. They have ownership in the haunt. Every actor, everybody there, I give a percentage plus bonuses. And it's the only time I've never had a complaint. When I pay payroll, like hourly complaints, and I would pay them more than whatever I told them. I always give them more, and never, ever were they happy. Out here where I do stipends and give them ownership, coupons and everything, and you get a percentage of all the tickets sold, whatever, they're fine. If they complain, they haven't done it to me, and it takes all the risk off. Because at night when you have a little crowd, and you're like, geez, Louise. And I know that's dependent on state. In Tennessee, it's okay, to still do stipends, but some states it's not. But what a relief, man. You have no lease and you don't have a payroll, And then with marketing, as always, you always pay a little bit on the front end. As tickets come in, you pay with your tickets, what you get going. So the marketing output is very low, even like I think last year, the first year we spent $46,000 on marketing or something like that. But, we never saw that cost. We saw very little of it on the front end. So that would be the 3 things. I don't know if I would tell someone who's going to open a haunt, try to get a lease that you have a partnership with. So you take the stress off of there, try to do stipends, percentage of sales to your actors, give them ownership. And the third one, which is what I just said with marketing, plan it that you can pay it as it comes out, so that's all your stress. Your stress is gone. No, your stress isn't gone, but your money stress is very little. Obviously you still got your actor stress and everything else, getting people out there and all the other shit. But that's a big three things. And that's what I've done different out here than in Vegas. Vegas, I did traditional pay. My payroll was over $100,000, so, and then marketing. When I did Vegas, though, the marketing was always covered by the hotel, so I didn't have to worry about that. But those things, definitely stipends, shared lease, and, look at a good marketing budget, but make sure you don't, you only put out $5,000 on the front end, and make sure you have avenues to get out of your marketing if the tickets aren't coming in.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's cool. It's actually with our list of questions, that's the last question we usually ask is what's some advice you have for someone who's looking into, becoming a haunt owner or transitioning into an ownership position. So
yeah, I would say that, it's like, one, if you love your hobby, leave it a hobby.
Yeah.
When you become pro, even with the prop making, and I know watching him trim masks there right now, it takes a lot of joy out, and like, again, when you're small and even, it's fun, it's small, it's fun. When it gets big, you lose a lot of the joy because you're running around like your head's cut off, the chicken's head cut off, and you're trying to do stuff. For me, what I do to help bring myself back into it, I hire managers to manage the haunt for me so I can act. I like to act. So there'll be 1 or 2 nights a week I get to act, and I'm running around and jumping over buildings and jumping over shit. And people are like, oh, it must be nice to be 29. And I go, dude, I'm 56, And the secret is 3 beers a night, man. I don't drink beer that much, but when I'm haunting, man, I don't eat food. I just drink whatever. I can drink 3 beers and it does all the calories I need for the night. I'm good to go.
Well, that is the thing. That's back. The Egyptians used mead or beer for the slaves for building the pyramids because it kept them fed and it made them docile at night.
Well, that worked for me, so I must have learned something. The Egyptians, but that would be the thing: is if you're a new haunt owner, look at or you want to be a haunt owner, look at avenues where there's less risk. And people message me all the time because I'm very open. I want everybody to succeed. I don't believe in competition, like that. Distortions actually got my mindset. Probably about 10 years ago, I went down to Distortions when I first opened Hazard Room. And a lot of the prop builders at the time, Facebook wasn't open as much and stuff. And a lot of the prop building companies, they want to tell you anything. You go out and message them, and they want to tell you anything. So, unless you had an apprenticeship somewhere, and then you had to sign a non-compete, and you're like, well, I want to own my own business. Well, you need to take a hike, So, I messaged tons of companies, but Distortions was incredible. They're like, come in. And at the time we had moved to Colorado for 2 years to check out the market. And we went into Distortions and they showed us everything. Not only did they show us everything, they gave us a list of their suppliers, what they're using. It was amazing. They're like, here, you do this and this and this. And I'm like, and I said to them, I go, aren't you afraid I'll knock you off? Aren't you afraid of the competition? And they looked at me and said, no, we're not. Because if you do, it pushes us to make better stuff.
Yep.
And I'm like, that is the most awesome mindset I ever thought of. It's like, wow. So that was coming out from all these other companies that like wanted to stab me in the eye, Yep. And here you have Distortions, one of the more successful ones. I have stories, we opened a prop company, and because, a lot because of Scare Factory, not getting our stuff and getting broken stuff. And we're like, well, we can make this crap, So, and we kept it small on purpose. We could go big with Hazard Room where we want. And you don't see a lot on us anywhere because we don't market it. And we do have a big group of people that buy from us. And like we do a lot overseas, and we've done theme parks and stuff like that. And we've done Not Scary's Farm and everything like that. But I think next year I'm going to take Hazard Room big if I can get this haunt open right now, because we have just so much stuff you guys haven't seen. We're going to get into giants. We've already started doing some giants. And stuff for that. And again, this is me. I wasn't an art teacher in my original life. I was a high school art teacher and a basketball coach, baseball coach too. And the Halloween was a creative outlet for me. I got shaky hands. And so being able to get into a dark art like this, where, you know, you're creating and you're getting immediate feedback on what you're doing and nobody's looking at your fine lines, you know, and was a real cool thing. What was that?
So thank God no one's looking at my fine lines, because they're terrible.
Mine are pretty horrible. So, but the art of it is amazing. So I'm like, as he's sitting there cutting his finger off. So, but yeah, if you're a new person, you just got to look at it as business. You're gonna make a lot of money. Whenever I open a haunt, I don't plan on making money for 5 years, you know. So I'm like, okay, if I can get a little bit back each year, I'm cool with it. I have other successful businesses right now that are still going, but eventually they'll go away. So hopefully I start making money in the Halloween world eventually. My Halloween stores actually did good, my costume stores, and we were actually going to try to franchise them, but we're going to revisit that later because we moved them from Las Vegas to Denver, which we never opened, to here. So my house is full. I got, I think, 10 bedrooms in my house. No, I got 16 rooms in my house, and each room is packed, like just packed.
So you live in a mansion, right?
I live in a castle.
Oh.
I have a nice little house in 50 acres. And for me, it's not for me, the house at all. It's my wife. I'm happy in a cardboard box. As long as I have a good sized shop, I'm okay. You know, you can put me anywhere. So
we got 9 minutes and 40 seconds. So we got one
rambler,
more.
Man.
We'll be able to do. I think we'll do one more question, and I think that'll be good for this one.
All right, guys.
But
you want to just reset it, and then we'll do that question?
No, I think we can get that done in it's 9 minutes.
Okay. Let me look at my list here.
Let's ask him what his favorite thing he's ever seen in another haunted house has been. How about that?
That's where I was going to go.
Wow. Ah, man, I've been to a lot of haunts. Oh, Lord, that's not a fair question. There's so many good things out there. You know, my favorite haunt I visit was Hell's Gate. I think that's the one. So the Zombie Army does that one
last year, but clearly that didn't happen because I would always wanted to go to Hell's Gate.
Hell's Gate, but I like Hanahuchi, and that's kind of I'm not doing a hands-on out here in Tennessee, and I'm kind of doing the adult kind of theme. We'll see if people are picketing me. I'm already getting dirty letters in my religious letters in my mailbox, but I'm between the Mennonites and I think the Protestants or something down the street. The Mennonites have been real cool about it though, but I've been getting a lot of I'm going to hell letters, but it's cool. I don't care. But we're going to do kind of an adult theme out there. Obviously I'm from Vegas, so it's going to be a little more adulty. And we have Clarksville base up there. We're going to try to draw from that a little bit. But that Hell's Gate, man, that when you go up and you walk through all of the woods, to get to the main haunt, you think you're already done with the haunt before you get to the main haunt. So you're walking through the trail and you're like seeing just cool little teasers, and their main room, that would probably be my favorite room I've seen, was
their library.
Where they have the girls up and they're telling the story and they fly across the room. That is insane. And I did like the library where the tilted walls and stuff like that. That was really cool. So that's, I think, definitely my favorite haunt so far. I try to take the Midwest tour one every year, and that usually is a pretty good time. But I would have to say Hell's Gate, that opening main big room with they get up and they tell the story of the twins, and they fly across the room, and it's a big room. They did a tremendous job on that. I knew, I went and looked at their reviews in the beginning. They were getting bad reviews, a few bad reviews, and it's any haunt, they're just getting open and going. But man, they got their groove, and they sure are. They're amazing. So that would be a nice haunt to revisit every year. So
yeah, I love LaFlamboy, his style and the way that he runs his crew. I just think it's really, really good, and he's such a passionate guy about what he does.
That haunt's incredible.
He loves it.
And it's weird because when you visit these haunts, you see some big ones and they're just god awful horror ones, and then these little ones that are like in a house and they're like off the wall cool. So it's even for a lot of people watching who are new and are going to be new into the haunt industry, it's about getting your flavor right. It doesn't have to be massive. You're there to entertain and bring back that atmosphere. And that's what I tell my partners. I go, look, we got to create that atmosphere, that it's an October thing to do. You got to have that smell, that stuff like when they're little kids, they come here, and in 5 years, they're going to want to come back because they remember that smell. It's like all of us. We all want to be that guy on our street when we're doing our homes that, hey, you remember that guy that used to do that house for Halloween? You're all those guys. People are like, yeah, that weirdo. Yeah, what happened to him? So you're that one that made all the little kids happy and stuff. And that's what we do. We're entertainers. So, and I would have to say that too, if you're opening a haunt, and going back on the other question is, if you're doing it for the money, man, this ain't, there's so many easier ways to make money. I can show you other businesses how to make money. This is a hard money business and it's high risk, but if your passion's in it, it's worth it. It's worth it. Just don't get into it for the money. So, as he's making masks for somebody.
As I'm making masks to hopefully make some money.
There you go. You will. Just keep pushing, man. So, I told Kyle when he first started too, because when he was making over at Midnight Studios, like he was just doing masks at first. I go, dude, you're never going to make a lot of money in masks unless you get into silicone. You're going to have to start doing full body props and animatronics eventually, So he's killing it. So
I can get there one day.
You will. Just start getting bigger. Start building up. Put body heads on those things, and instead of getting, $200 for that, $100, you get $800 for a static prop. All I got to do is add hands.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope I answered your questions, guys. I really enjoyed being on here with you tonight. I don't get to talk Halloween often. I'm out here in the boons. So,
dude, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm in Knoxville right now working, but I'm home in Nashville on the weekends. I would love to get a cold beer with you, chat some more.
Absolutely.
And, because, there are a lot of haunted house people in Nashville, but, I know a lot of them, and I don't know you, and I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. So, hey, I already like, the way you look at things and the way that you've talked, because, it's almost like a West Coast feel. It's a little bit different. It's spooking, but when you come, like I've been in Tennessee my whole life pretty much. And when I started traveling, doing more haunted house work, you notice that other styles are there. And, like you said, like a stripper, deal was pretty cool. I mean, when we did that Death Yard, people were like, you're going to put a stripper in your haunted house? Like you didn't talk about that in Tennessee,
Yeah.
So
zombie Nazis, drill goes.
Yeah, the zombie Nazis, the drill dough, the zombie strippers. That was the trifecta, Matt.
Up the gate hitting with that.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you.
All right, guys.
We'll talk to y'all soon. Appreciate it. And
appreciate you guys.
I'll see you later.
Man.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.